Good morning, guys. Right, it doesn't only happen in London. In South Africa, we have been making pipes for a couple of years now, and I need to go back to the London bit for a while, because when you talk about something, they think that you don't have the knowledge to speak about it. You don't have the experience. So, first of all, here's a couple of British pipes in front of you. On the left, we have the Peterson selection with probably my sweetest and greatest new edition, a sweet new Tampa, Peterson Tampa, Sherlock Holmes edition from Leandro Alfonso. Thank you for winning that auction, mate. And also something that you don't often see in South Africa is a freehand Peterson. It's mostly the standard stuff, and this would be my most favorite Peterson, I think, out of all of them. What makes them different is the fact that the smoke hole is on top of the mouthpiece. You do get them with a fishtail mouthpiece, but most of them are called a lip mouthpiece. They take the smoke away from your tongue, and if you have a sensitive tongue, it's not a bad idea. The only problem that I have with that is most of the times the smoke hole is very small and the heat that you get from it is quite high. Right, now I said British, and it's not really British, it's Irish. The Irish and the South Africans has had a bond over the years which was very good. So they supplied us all through the years of the apartheid with pipes, and we could get decent pipes. They're very nice pipes, and they're definitely a must-have in any collection. But I want to tell you where I come from and where I started. And to do that, I need to show you this middle row of pipes here. The top one was made by the very first pipe maker in South Africa, Samek, and it's the only one that I have of him. And he taught Willie Matner how to make pipes, and this is one of the iconic pipes that Willie Matner used to make. The bowl is oval, straight one, and he made quite a few of these. Very nice, very sweet. And this one in the middle here was one of two of Willie Matner's very last pipes he used to smoke. Lovely little thing, stamped with his name, and yes, I really love this one. It's something I cherish. Now the basis of these pipes are they're very standard, if I may say so. There's no system in them. They work with a normal push-pull tenon kind of fitting, which you have to take out. You can't do this, of course, when a pipe is hot. And I realized very quickly that these little tenons break, or they crack the wood, and you need to do repairs on them. For that, you need to get the bowl to fit the mouthpiece. It's not something that you can do over the mail. So I tried to move away from that. And my very first attempt of doing something different was basically just a military press stem. Tapered fit, stronger. I went to fit a little bush so that it doesn't push into the wood or could crack the wood, and it also saves on wearing out. If you want to see what the Peterson stem looks like on the inside, this transparent one that I made is probably the best one to start off with. You can see the line inside running from the back to the front. I made this one just to be able to see if I can improve on the basic design of it, and I really like this pipe. Now when I started, I was privileged enough to start working with Corsican briar, and I did this shape, very similar to what Peterson makes. And I sold quite a few of these over the years, and I call it the Bucky shape. And that's where I went away from the basic guidelines with just about everything that I did. Simply because there was nothing like it ever before in South Africa. There was no Afrikaans speaking person making pipes. So I started with a name range that defined the shapes, and the Bakkie was probably the most common one that I ever made. My very first design was the Calitzdorp. Right here I have a beautiful 25th anniversary limited edition #1 Calitzdorp with many thousands of rands. You can look at the grain, you can see all the bird's eye around it. It's almost completely covered in bird's eye, and we'll get to the grains and the details and what bird's eye is and where it comes from a bit later. But back to what I did and why I did it. When you smoke a pipe, 75% of the moisture inside that is spit. It runs down the mouthpiece. It normally mixes up with the tobacco juices, and it comes right back into your mouth, and you get that foul taste that you ate. And you have to grab a pipe cleaner and run it through it. Unless, of course, if you can use a filter. So the first pipes that I made with filters, they went straight into the stem, and I just made a cavity to fit the 6mm filter. I really like the 6mm. And I prefer the balsa wood filter because it does exactly what you want it to do. It absorbs moisture. With the carbon filters, it also tampers a bit with the taste, and it does tend to block airflow after about 2 smokes, 3 smokes. Sorry. Right. Now, what I tried to create was little pockets that collect the moisture and prevent them from coming back to your mouth. The similar pipes would be the Kaiser with a spit collector, but with the Kaiser I found you could do a bit better by adding more and combining more different designs into the same filter system. So I came up with a basic universal system where you could fit both a 6 or a 9mm filter. You can have a spit collector, or you do have a spit collector, and you have a sump. You know, people complaining about that. Let me just ease your mind there for a while. It's a very simple little thing that goes into the neck. It's quite a big cavity that you see there. And that spit collector becomes the holder for the filter, which means that you don't run through filters as fast as you normally would. The moisture will run down the side of the stem, get collected in the spit collector. Your tobacco juice will come out the bottom and stay there, and the only thing that can still move is steam, and that filter only absorbs steam. So you've got a very dry, very cool, very nice smoke. Sorry about that, my wife's gonna kill me. Right, so let's get to the reason for pipe smoking. Pipes really have a lot of character. It's not just a piece of paper that you take out of your pocket with a bit of tobacco in it. They have different shapes, different grains. The grain is beautiful. It draws you in, and you can really divulge yourself into the world of pipes, and very soon you will get PAD, or pipe acquisition disorder, and you end up with little collections like these that I have here with the Petersons, and of course with Savinelli, Kaiser, Sasha, Sassini, Stanmore, Daniel, Plum. What else can I tell you? There's hundreds of names now. I do have quite a few pipes in my collection. I will slowly try and get to work through them and show you what each one does. Right, like I said, the Peterson with the small hole is not really suitable for African conditions, and that's just my opinion. You don't have to believe it, you don't have to trust it. The hole is very small, and it does tend to heat up the smoke quite a bit. You can slow down and smoke slower, but normally it's not very effective for me. And I do tend to smoke them occasionally in the winter, and then in summer they most of the time get a decent rest, and I would switch to my other brand that I like, which is Sauvignon, if I don't smoke my own pipes. I prefer my own pipes. Filter life is longer, flow is better. It's unique in every single way, and they're very strong. Now, it's difficult for me to tell you that you should get one, simply because you have your own opinion, you have your own taste. But I would like to challenge you to try one of them and see what it's like. Getting back to that filter system, if any of that bothers you, it's a simple matter of removing that insert. You've got a completely free system. There's nothing collected, there's nothing blocked, nothing restricted. Now combine that with the new way that I drill my smoke hole. I call it bottomless. I'm going to show you how it works. And there's been a lot of criticism from, I would say, a handful of South African guys. And we have a bit of a problem here. In South Africa, we have three groups of people: the fighters, the joiners, and the insoppers. And it goes back to that song that played earlier. It only happens here in London. We have a bit of history with the English. And I think it's time not to be rude, but to be proud of what we have in South Africa and what was created here. Getting back to that smoke hole, the smoke hole goes straight down, right in the center of the bowl. But there's a formula to that, a ratio that needs to be upheld. And if it's not done properly, it's not going to be very nice to smoke. How it works is very simple. As soon as you take a cone shape and you put a hole on the side of it, let me try and explain you what I mean. Your bowl is obviously cone shaped at the bottom, and your smoke hole will come right in from the side. No matter how perfect you drill that hole, the draw will always be to one side. With a bottomless, it's perfectly centered, and you can draw down and smoke that bowl, and that much ash will be left in the end. Let me get this together before my wife sees. We'll clean that up a bit later. Right, so not only do you smoke all the tobacco that's in the bowl, it's a dry smoke, it's a cool smoke. I've added the reverse calabash neck, which was not designed by me, but it does make a huge difference. And I call this range the hybrid range. There is many other things that I've tried over the years, and most of them are still around. I still use them in all of my pipes, simply to give you the best smoke possible. Not to be arrogant or anything, but I challenge anybody to take up one of these pipes and smoke them and tell me it's not a dream. It's not a pleasure to own one. The latest thing that I do with my pipes is, of course, to carbon the bowls so that you don't have to burn them in. Right from the second you get your pipe, it's almost like an old friend, and you can just puff away. Now, saying that, I think it's time we try and light it up again. Next time we will talk a bit about the history of pipe making in South Africa a bit more. Until then, happy smokes.